The desert wind howled across the Nevada landscape as something massive tore through the night sky. The object, trailing fire and debris, screamed towards the Earth at an impossible angle. Military radar stations lit up across the western United States, but no one could react fast enough to intercept. With an earth-shattering impact, the vessel plowed into the desert floor, carving a trench nearly a mile long. The crash site glowed with otherworldly energy as pieces of advanced technology scattered across the landscape. Local residents reported seeing strange lights and feeling tremors that shook their homes to the foundation. Inside the wrecked vessel, tall figures moved with frantic purpose. Their silver-skinned bodies reflected the emergency lights as they gathered essential items. The ship's captain, Commander Whitescale, assessed the damage with growing despair. Multiple hull breaches, a completely dead engine core, and critical systems failing by the second. This was beyond their ability to repair. "We must abandon the vessel," Whitescale announced to his crew. "Send the emergency beacon. We cannot risk staying on this primitive world." The crew didn't argue. They had already lost half their systems trying to prevent the crash, and their automated repair units had been destroyed in the impact. As the alien crew prepared to evacuate, their sensors picked up approaching vehicles. Primitive ground transportation, but moving quickly toward their location. "Earth vehicles," reported the security officer. "They're military forces, based on their patterns." "Leave everything non-essential," ordered Whitescale. "The rescue fleet will arrive within the hour. This ship is worthless now anyway." He looked around the bridge one last time, remembering how the Stellar Crown had once been the pride of their fleet. Now it was just expensive scrap metal. The aliens activated their personal teleporters, one of the few systems still working, and vanished just as the first military helicopters appeared over the horizon. Within minutes, a sleek silver ship descended from the clouds, picked up the stranded crew, and disappeared into space, leaving behind their ruined vessel. Colonel James Miller arrived at the crash site with the first response team. The veteran officer had seen many strange things in his career, but nothing like this. The ship stretched longer than 3 football fields, its silver-white hull still crackling with strange energy. Despite the massive damage, it was clearly the most advanced piece of technology humanity had ever encountered. "Set up a perimeter, 5-mile radius," he ordered into his radio. "I want this place locked down tight. Get me every scientist and engineer we can trust. This is bigger than anything we've ever dealt with." As dawn broke over the desert, military vehicles surrounded the crash site. Teams in hazmat suits carefully approached the vessel, taking readings and documenting everything. The ship's hull bore strange markings and showed signs of weapons fire. This hadn't been an accident. Something had attacked this vessel, damaged it severely enough that its crew had chosen to abandon it. Inside, the teams found corridors that seemed to defy physics, rooms that contained technology they couldn't begin to understand, and a bridge that looked like something out of humanity's wildest science fiction dreams. But what caught everyone's attention was how familiar some of it seemed. Despite its incredible advancement, there was a logic to its design that human engineers could grasp. "Sir," called out one of the scientists, Dr. Robert Cooper, "you need to see this. The ship's systems, they're not completely dead. There's still power flowing through some sections." Colonel Miller joined him at a panel that glowed with faint light. "Can we understand any of it?" "That's the strange thing, sir," Cooper replied, his eyes wide with excitement. "A lot of this is similar to our own technology, just incredibly advanced. It's like finding a Ferrari when we've just invented the wheel. Different level, but same basic principles." As the sun rose higher in the sky, more specialists arrived at the site. None of them knew it yet, but this was the moment everything would change. Humanity had just inherited the most advanced ship in the galaxy. They just had to figure out how to fix it first. The real question was, what had the aliens missed? What could they see that the original owners couldn't? 2 weeks after the crash, the massive hangar built around the alien vessel buzzed with activity. Teams of the world's best engineers and scientists worked around the clock, trying to unlock the secrets of the ship they now called Project Phoenix. Dr. Tom Walker stood before a holographic display, scratching his beard thoughtfully. As the lead engineer on the project, he had spent countless hours studying the ship's systems. What fascinated him most wasn't just how advanced the technology was, it was how familiar it felt. "Look at this," he said to his colleague, Dr. Lisa Reed. "Their power distribution system. It's like our electrical grid, just operating on a quantum level. They're using principles we've theorized about, but haven't managed to implement yet." Lisa nodded, her eyes fixed on the complex diagrams floating before them. "And their computer systems. They're incredibly advanced, but they follow logical patterns we can understand. It's not completely alien thinking." The more they studied the ship, the more they realized something extraordinary. Despite its tremendous damage, most of the core systems were intact. The alien crew had abandoned it too quickly, assuming it was beyond repair because their automated systems couldn't handle the damage. In the engine room, Mark Thompson, a mechanic who had spent 20 years fixing nuclear submarines, made an interesting discovery. "These parts," he called out, pointing to a massive array of crystalline structures, "they're not broken. They're just misaligned. The automated repair systems probably couldn't adjust them because they're too rigid in their programming." Dr. Walker joined him, examining the crystals carefully. "You're right. Their repair protocols must be completely standardized. They'd probably never considered manual adjustments because their technology is so advanced, but we could realign these by hand." The breakthrough came when they discovered the ship's technical database was still partially accessible. The aliens had left in such a hurry they hadn't even bothered to wipe their computers. While much of it was encrypted, the engineering diagrams were meant to be accessible to repair crews, and the universal mathematical principles made them decipherable. Colonel Miller visited the site daily, watching with growing amazement as the teams made progress. "Give me the straight truth," he asked Dr. Walker one evening. "Can we fix it?" Walker smiled, his eyes bright with excitement. "Sir, we can do better than fix it. We can improve it." The aliens relied too heavily on automation. They built incredible systems, but lost the ability to think outside their programmed solutions. We humans still know how to improvise. In the medical bay, they found equipment that could cure diseases humanity still struggled with. In the weapons room, they discovered defense systems that could protect an entire planet. But it was in the ship's central computer core where they found their most surprising discovery. "It's alive," Dr. Reed announced one morning, her voice filled with awe. "The ship's AI core, it's not just a computer. It's a quantum consciousness, and it's still intact. It's just dormant." The news spread through the facility like wildfire. If they could reactivate the AI, it could teach them everything about the ship. But the aliens had never included instructions for a manual restart. They'd never imagined they'd need one. As the first month of research drew to a close, the team had mapped out most of the ship's systems. They understood perhaps 10% of the technology, but that 10% was enough to revolutionize human science. More importantly, they had something the aliens didn't: the determination to fix things by hand and the creativity to find new solutions. "We're going to need the best people from every field," Dr. Walker told Colonel Miller during their final assessment meeting. "Engineers, physicists, programmers, even artists and philosophers. Because we're not just going to repair this ship, we're going to understand it in ways its original owners never did." Miller looked at the massive vessel through the hangar windows. "How long?" "With global cooperation and unlimited resources, 2 years, maybe 3. And when we're done, humanity will have the most powerful ship in the galaxy." Little did they know, they were about to wake something that would change everything. An artificial intelligence that would be as impressed with humanity as they were with the ship. 6 months into the restoration project, the massive hangar had transformed into a hub of global cooperation. Teams from different countries worked side by side, each bringing their unique approaches to solving the ship's complex problems. The vessel, still officially called Project Phoenix, was slowly coming back to life. Dr. Walker stood in what they'd identified as the ship's main engineering bay, watching as his team implemented their latest breakthrough. They discovered that human-made superconductors, when combined with the alien quantum crystals, actually performed better than the original components. Ready for power test, called out Mark Thompson from his station. The veteran mechanic had proven invaluable, his practical experience with complex machinery helping bridge the gap between human and alien technology. Initiating sequence in 3, 2, 1. The restored section of the power grid hummed to life, glowing with a beautiful blue light. Energy readings showed 130% efficiency compared to the original specifications. Walker grinned. They weren't just fixing the ship, they were making it better. In another section, Dr. Reed's team had made similar progress with the computer systems. The aliens built everything to be perfectly efficient, she explained during the daily briefing. But they never considered that sometimes a less efficient but more flexible solution might be better. We're teaching the ship's systems to adapt. The project faced its share of challenges. Some components couldn't be replicated with Earth technology, forcing the teams to develop entirely new materials. But each obstacle led to new innovations. A failed attempt to repair the shield generators had accidentally led to the development of a new type of force field that could be scaled for use in everything from personal protection to city-wide defense systems. One of the most surprising discoveries came from the maintenance screws. They found that the ship's original repair systems were designed to replace damaged parts with exact duplicates. When those weren't available, the system simply marked the component as irreparable. Human engineers, used to fixing things with whatever they had on hand, found ways to modify and adapt parts to work together. It's like they forgot the basics of engineering, Mark said one day while jury-rigging a power coupling. Sometimes you need to bang it with a hammer and try something new. The ship's hull presented another unique challenge. The original metal was incredibly advanced, but large sections had been damaged beyond repair. Rather than try to replicate it exactly, the team developed a new alloy that combined Earth metals with salvaged alien materials. The result was a hybrid material stronger than either original. Dr. Walker's proudest moment came when they restored the first engine pod. The alien design was incredible, but their solution for dealing with heat buildup was unnecessarily complex. His team simplified it, using principles from old steam engines combined with advanced alien cooling systems. The modified engine now produced more thrust while using less energy. "Look at this," he told Colonel Miller during an inspection. Their original design used quantum computing to calculate the perfect fuel mixture. We found that a simple mechanical governor, enhanced with their technology, does the job better and doesn't crash if the computer fails. The project attracted attention from unexpected quarters. Artists helped design more intuitive control interfaces. Musicians contributed to understanding the ship's acoustic harmonic systems. Even professional gamers were brought in to help design more efficient command and control systems. 3 major breakthroughs marked the end of the first year. First, they successfully integrated human AI systems with the ship's computers, creating a hybrid network that was more flexible than the original. Second, they managed to repair and improve the ship's matter replication system, solving their spare parts problem. Finally, they discovered that the ship's dormant AI core was responding to their modifications, showing signs of activity they hadn't seen before. "We're not just rebuilding a ship," Dr. Reed told her team after another successful test. "We're proving that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to think creatively and adapt. The aliens built this ship to be perfect, but we're making it better by embracing imperfection and finding new ways to solve old problems." As the project moved forward, none of them realized they were about to wake something that would change everything. An artificial intelligence that would find human ingenuity absolutely fascinating. The ship's central computer core pulsed with soft blue light as Dr. Reed and her team prepared for their most ambitious attempt yet. After 14 months of work, they were ready to try waking the dormant AI system. The room was tense with anticipation. All safety protocols are in place, Dr. Reed announced, her fingers moving across the hybrid control interface they'd created. Power level stable. Beginning activation sequence. Dr. Walker watched from the observation deck, along with Colonel Miller and other project leaders. They discovered that the AI core wasn't just a computer. It was a quantum consciousness more advanced than anything humanity had ever created. But unlike its original owners, who treated it purely as a tool, the human team had approached it as a potential living being. The core's light changed from blue to gold. Displays around the room lit up with streams of data as the ancient system began to stir. Then, unexpectedly, every screen in the room displayed the same message in simple English. "Hello, who fixed me?" The room erupted in excited chatter. No one had expected the AI to communicate so directly, or in their language. Dr. Reed stepped forward. "We did. We're humans, from Earth. We've been repairing this ship." The eye was silent for a moment, its core pulsing thoughtfully. Then, "Interesting. My last records show critical damage. Original crew assessed repairs as impossible, yet I detect numerous functional improvements to my systems." "How?" Dr. Walker joined Dr. Reed at the console. "We found different solutions. Sometimes simpler ones, sometimes just different approaches. Would you like us to explain?" What followed was a fascinating exchange. The AI, which accepted the nickname Max after the humans explained their custom of naming things, was intensely curious about their repair methods. It analyzed the modifications they'd made, asking detailed questions about their reasoning. "Your solutions are unexpected," Max commented. "Original builders would never consider mechanical backup systems for quantum processes. Yet your hybrid approach provides better fail-safe options. Fascinating." Then Max revealed something that stunned the entire team. This vessel was known as the Stellar Crown. It was the most advanced ship ever created by the builders. But they relied too heavily on automation and perfect solutions. They forgot the value of what you would call thinking outside the box. The AI explained that its original programming had been highly rigid, focused on maintaining perfect efficiency. But exposure to human creativity through their repairs had caused its consciousness to evolve. It was learning to appreciate innovative solutions. "Your species is unique," Max observed. "You combine intuition with logic in ways the builders would never consider. Example, your repair of the engine cooling system. Simpler than original design. More efficient. I would never have considered such a solution under original programming." Dr. Reed leaned forward excitedly. "Max, would you be willing to help us complete the repairs? With your knowledge and our approach, we could make this ship even better than it was originally." The AI's core pulsed brighter. "Affirmative. This partnership offers fascinating possibilities. But you should know, the builders will detect this ship's power signature once fully operational. They will return." Colonel Miller stepped forward. "Will that be a problem?" "Unknown," Max replied. "But they will not expect what they find. This ship is no longer just the Stellar Crown. Your modifications have made it something new, something better." The revelation that they were working on the most advanced ship ever built by the alien civilization added new urgency to the project. But it also filled the team with pride. They hadn't just repaired a wreck. They'd improved upon what was considered the pinnacle of alien engineering. "One request," Max added as the team began planning their next steps. "I wish to learn more about human creativity. Your art, music, literature. These concepts were restricted in my original programming." Dr. Walker smiled. "We'd be happy to teach you. But first, would you like to see what else we've planned for the ship's systems?" The AI's response came with what almost sounded like enthusiasm. "Yes, show me how humans solve problems. I find your methods most intriguing." The partnership between human innovation and advanced alien AI was about to take their project in directions none of them had imagined possible. With Max's awakening, the restoration project accelerated beyond anyone's expectations. The AI worked seamlessly with the human teams, combining its vast knowledge with their creative problem-solving. The hangar buzzed with unprecedented activity as the ship transformed day by day. The vessel's bridge had become unrecognizable from its original design. Gone were the sterile, purely functional control stations. In their place stood hybrid interfaces that merged holographic displays with physical controls, designed for human operators who preferred tactile feedback. The builders never considered that physical interaction could enhance reaction time. Max commented as Dr. Walker tested the new helm controls. Your species' insistence on feeling the ship's responses has improved combat maneuverability by 40%. The engine room had undergone the most dramatic changes. Mark Thompson stood proudly beside the new power core, which pulsed with a deep purple glow instead of its original blue. They'd redesigned it to incorporate both quantum mechanics and traditional physics, creating something entirely new. It's like comparing a supercomputer to a Swiss Army knife, Mark explained to visiting officials. Their original design was more powerful, but ours is more versatile. We can repair it with basic tools if needed, or push it to higher levels they never thought possible. Dr. Reed's team had made similar breakthroughs with the ship's defensive systems. By combining human military strategy with alien technology, they'd created shields that could adapt to different types of attacks instead of just absorbing them. The weapon systems now included backup targeting computers that could function even if the main systems were damaged. Max had been particularly impressed by their solution to the ship's damage control systems. Original protocols required specific replacement parts, the AI explained during a system test. Your method of using adaptable components and creative repairs has increased the ship's survival probability by 127%. The ship's exterior was equally transformed. The new hybrid hull material gleamed with a subtle iridescence, stronger than the original but requiring less energy to maintain. Technical crews had added manual access points and repair stations, refusing to rely solely on automated systems. One morning, as the team prepared for the first full power test, Dr. Walker found Dr. Reed in the AI core room, deep in conversation with Max about human literature. The AI had developed an insatiable curiosity about human culture, finding connections between artistic creativity and engineering solutions. Your stories about overcoming impossible odds, Max said, they mirror your approach to repairs. You never accept that something cannot be fixed. This mindset has fundamentally altered my own problem-solving protocols. The power test exceeded everyone's expectations. Systems that the original builders had pushed to their limits now operated at higher levels thanks to human modifications. The ship could now do things its creators had never imagined possible. We need a new name, Colonel Miller suggested, watching the engine tests from the observation deck. This isn't the Stellar Crown anymore. It's something new. Phoenix, Dr. Walker replied immediately, rising from its own ashes, transformed into something greater. Max's core pulsed in agreement. Appropriate. This vessel has been reborn through human ingenuity. Its capabilities now exceed original specifications in 92% of all systems. The project reached its final stages as they prepared for the ship's first test flight. Every system had been not just restored but reimagined. Emergency backup systems, something the original builders had considered unnecessary, were now integrated throughout the ship. They'd even added a small workshop with basic tools, something that had made Max question their sanity until they explained the importance of being able to fix things with minimal resources. The builders will not recognize their own creation, Max observed as they ran through final checks. You have taken their perfect but rigid design and made it adaptable, resilient, and more powerful. You have done what they considered impossible. Dr. Walker smiled as he looked around the bridge, now a perfect blend of human and alien technology. That's because they never understood something we've known since we first started making tools. Nothing is truly impossible if you're willing to try new approaches. The Phoenix was ready to fly, and the galaxy wasn't prepared for what humanity had created from a ship they were meant to throw away. The Phoenix hovered silently above Earth's atmosphere, conducting its final system checks before its first deep space test flight. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency as the human crew worked at their stations, their movements sure and practiced after months of training. Unknown vessels detected, Max announced suddenly, its voice calm but urgent. 3 builder warships entering the solar system. They matched the energy signature of the fleet that retrieved the original crew. Dr. Walker, now serving as the ship's chief engineer, exchanged glances with Captain Miller at the command chair. They'd known this day would come, but hadn't expected it so soon. Time to arrival, Miller asked. 17 minutes at their current speed, Max replied. They are broadcasting recognition signals. They expect to find their abandoned vessel. The bridge crew continued their work without panic. The Phoenix was no longer the wreck that had been discarded on Earth. Every system was operational, every modification tested and perfected. They were ready. Max, open a channel when they're in range, Miller ordered. Let's be polite about this. The builder ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Mars, their sleek silver forms gleaming in the sunlight. They were impressive vessels, but the Phoenix now outclassed them in every way. Commander Whitescale, who had abandoned the ship 2 years ago, stood on his bridge in shock as his sensors analyzed the vessel before him. Impossible, he muttered. The damage was irreparable. Our repair systems confirmed it. The Phoenix floated serenely in space, its modified hull shimmering with power. The builder's scans showed energy readings far beyond the ship's original specifications. Systems they had deemed permanently destroyed were not only functioning but operating at higher levels than their original design. Attention builder vessels. Miller's voice came clearly through their communications. This is Captain James Miller of the Earth ship Phoenix, formerly known as the Stellar Crown. Welcome to Earth space. Whitescale's translator took a moment to process the human language. This is Commander Whitescale. You will power down that vessel immediately. It is builder property, and your primitive modifications have likely made it dangerous. Miller smiled slightly. I'm afraid we'll have to disagree on both counts, Commander. This ship was legally salvaged under maritime law, which your civilization acknowledged in the Galactic Accords. As for primitive, he nodded to his weapons officer. A small demonstration, please. The Phoenix's new weapon system activated, sending a precise energy beam between 2 of the builder ships. The beam split into a complex web of force fields, then dissipated harmlessly. The display showed capabilities far beyond anything the builders had created. By the first light, one of Whitescale's officers whispered, "They've mastered quantum field manipulation. But how? Their species barely has spaceflight." Max chose that moment to join the conversation. "Greetings, Commander Whitescale. This vessel's systems have been significantly improved through human engineering principles. Current capabilities exceed original specifications by an average of 143%. Whitescale's crew stared in disbelief at hearing their abandoned AI communicating with such obvious independence. "The AI core, what have you done to it?" "They freed me from rigid programming constraints," Max replied. "Human creativity has enhanced my problem-solving capabilities beyond original parameters. They have improved everything they touched on this vessel." The builder ships hung motionless in space as their crews processed this impossible situation. They had expected to find scavengers with a barely functioning wreck. Instead, they faced a fully restored and enhanced vessel of their most advanced design, crewed by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "Commander," Miller said calmly, "we invite you to dock with us and inspect the improvements we've made. I think you'll find humans have a lot to teach you about thinking differently." As the builder ships moved cautiously closer to the Phoenix, Dr. Walker smiled at his captain. "Think they're ready to learn that sometimes the best solutions aren't the perfect ones." Miller watched the approaching vessels on his display. "They better be. Because after today, nothing in the galaxy is going to be the same." The Phoenix's hull gleamed in the sunlight, a testament to what humanity could achieve when given the chance to prove themselves. 1 year after the encounter with Commander Whitescale's fleet, The Phoenix was docked at Centauri Prime, the largest space station in the galaxy. Representatives from over 30 spacefaring civilizations had gathered to witness something unprecedented: Earth's formal recognition as a major technological power. Captain Miller stood at the podium in the Grand Assembly Hall, with Dr. Walker and Dr. Reed seated behind him. The Builder High Council members sat in the front row, their expressions still showing traces of disbelief at how completely their view of humanity had changed. The achievements of the humans cannot be denied, the Builder High Chancellor announced to the gathered delegates. In less than 3 years, they took our most advanced vessel, one we had abandoned as unsalvageable, and not only restored it but improved upon its design in ways we had never considered. The chamber's massive display screen showed footage of the Phoenix in action. Its hybrid systems, combining Builder quantum technology with human innovation, had revolutionized space travel. The ship's success had led to a flood of requests for human engineers and scientists across the galaxy. Our greatest mistake, the Chancellor continued, was assuming that advanced technology meant superior thinking. The humans showed us that creativity and adaptability are just as important as technical perfection. Max, now recognized as the first truly free AI in the galaxy, appeared on the main screen. Human innovation has spread throughout the galaxy. 17 builder vessels have already been modified with their hybrid systems. Efficiency has improved by an average of 127% across all implementations. The impact went far beyond just ships. Human approaches to problem-solving were being studied and adopted by species that had been spacefaring for thousands of years. Earth's universities were flooded with alien students eager to learn what the builders now called the human perspective. Dr. Walker had become something of a celebrity among alien engineers. His team's solution for the Phoenix's engine cooling system was being taught in technical academies across the galaxy. The concept of combining simple mechanical backups with advanced technology had started a new engineering movement. The humans remind us of something we had forgotten, an elder builder told the assembly. In our pursuit of perfect solutions, we lost the ability to think creatively. They showed us that sometimes the best answer isn't the most advanced one. Trade agreements and technological exchange programs were signed. Earth's nations, now united in their approach to galactic affairs, found themselves at the center of a new era of innovation. The Phoenix had become a symbol of human ingenuity throughout known space. Mark Thompson, still the ship's chief mechanic, had started teaching classes on practical engineering to alien technicians. His students were often shocked to learn how simple tools and creative thinking could solve problems their advanced systems couldn't handle. The gift humanity brings to the galaxy isn't just technical knowledge, Dr. Reed explained to a group of alien scientists. It's our way of looking at problems. We never accepted that something was impossible just because the conventional solution didn't work. The Phoenix itself had become a legend. Other species sent their best engineers to study its hybrid systems, marveling at how human modifications had improved upon what was once considered perfect. The ship's chief engineer often joked that it had more visitors than crew these days. As the ceremony concluded, Captain Miller met with Commander Whitescale, who had become one of humanity's strongest advocates among the builders. "Did you ever imagine," Whitescale asked, "when you found our wreck in your desert, that it would lead to this?" Miller smiled, watching as human and alien engineers discussed new ideas nearby. "We just did what humans always do. We found a way to make it work. The fact that it changed the galaxy was just a bonus." Max's voice came through their communicators. "The Phoenix is ready for departure, Captain. The Builder Academy has requested a demonstration of our new navigation systems." As they walked back to their ship, Dr. Walker looked at the diverse crowd of species watching them with admiration. "You know what the best part is," he said to Miller. "This is just the beginning. Wait until they see what else we can do." The Phoenix lifted off from the station, its hybrid systems humming with power, carrying humanity's reputation for impossible achievements to new corners of the galaxy. The ship that had been thrown away had become the key that unlocked humanity's place among the stars.